Hello viewers, this is Jihad Surasuel with you. Today we have a special episode. We will discuss about the Rohingya and many other issues. Today we'll talk to Head of Missions IOM Bangladesh, Abdul Sattar SOF. Hello, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
So what is what is your what should I say for the first time? That is, what do you think about the current situations of Rohingya crisis?
Okay. Well, thank you very much for having me, inviting me for this show. I just wanted to let you also know, maybe for your viewers, that this is my second time posting in Bangladesh. So the first time I was here between 2015, 2018. So I was here when I've actually witnessed that exodus that has happened in 2017, and I was away for 3.5 years and came back again in April this year. So I am a bit more of familiar than any other of my counterparts in the UN agencies, because I've been here on the ground when it has happened. So unfortunately, what has happened in 2017 was something that we really hoped that is going to be temporary nature, so that people will be going back. And I do remember how the international communities applauded the government of Bangladesh, host communities here in coxsbazar, generosity to host this 1 million of displaced Rohingyas from Burma who have been fleeing the violence. So when that has happened, I have also witnessed how even the people, ordinary Bangladeshis people from Ukiya and Teknaf, where the Rohingyas have been coming and have actually come out, even hosted them in the beginning in their home. Yes. So they've been sharing their homes. I remember that myself.
Yes, the local people cooked for them and provided clothes and many other facilities to them.
Absolutely.
So during the year of 2017.
Yeah, 17. So that was all about solidarity of the people to be doing it, and with the hope that they are here for temporary and they will going back. Unfortunately, I have been asked by one of the ambassadors here, what would you seen, what do you have hoped to see but you didn't see when you came back? And in this question, I answered that the only thing that I hope to see, the repatriation of these people. Unfortunately, when I came back, and I remember the repatriation discussion between two countries started even at the onset of the crisis. This working group, this bilateral working group has been established between two countries in the very beginning of the crisis. And unfortunately, after coming back after 5 years, not a single Rohingya have repatriated. So this has been something that I was very sad about. But international communities and the government of Bangladesh continues providing support to them, which we are very thankful for.
So what about the repatriations? So as a head of missions of IOM, so what should be the rules of IOM regarding repatriations?
On the repatriation, we are on the same page with the whole UN family, because we as a UN family believe that the only solution to this crisis is dignified return of these people to their host community. And any refugee crisis in the world has actually 3 durable solutions. Yeah, the first, number 1, is repatriation. Of course, the second one is integration. The third one, resettlement. But in any crisis, the number 1 and majority of the thing that is focused on the number 1 of the durable solution, repatriation. So in the first
even Rohingya is asking for the repatriation.
Absolutely, because they don't. And this is another question that I'm absolutely astonished of the resilience of Rohingyas themselves, of the fact that they really are united within their identity as Rohingya. Yes. And they always say that we are Rohingyas and we have homeland, Northern Rakhine State, and Bangladesh is not our country. We are in a foreign country.
Yes, even they're not interested for the resettlement to any third country.
Absolutely, that is what I'm always amazed of. So now coming back to your question, where we stand with the repatriation, I'm happy to see that this working group has resumed their work. I think the last one the discussion was 2019, and this year they resumed the first discussion between two countries, which is a hope for us. But we believe that for the Rohingyas to go back, it should be dignified, safe and voluntary return with the full access to the services, social services in their home countries. That is unfortunate at the moment as we talk, does not exist. So the current situation in Myanmar also is not that promising. we can see and what has been happening in the last few weeks also is as testimony of the fact that the situation in northern Rakhine State is not that conducive for these people to go back. Our stance is that it should be safe and dignified in return. Rohingyas want to go back, but if there is a guarantee for them to be not prosecuted further,
Exactly, this is what Rohingyas say, that so they need safe and dignified repatriations. Even in these situations, in the war situations, they will go back if security is ensured.
Absolutely.
So on the other hand, so we have heard there is a found crisis, because of global crisis, like Russia and Ukraine war and some other many global issues is in front of us. So that's why there is a crisis of funding. So what do you think? What do you think the crisis will be over?
Well, the funding situation is really disturbing for us as well, because this is as we talk today, is the largest refugee camp in the world that we are managing, right? Let me made it very clear. The government of Bangladesh is managing, and we are supporting it. It's not UN that's doing it; is the government, and they have their own setup, and the office of the refugee repatriation and relief and repatriation commissioner here in coxsbazar, and the whole camp governance structure they have been put in place. A lot of investment from the government. So I always say this response is led by the government of Bangladesh. We as UN are supporting it. So when it comes to the funding, of course, in order for us to support the government, we need funding, and funding situation really is getting tough for two reasons. First is that after the 5 year of any crisis, it turns into the protected nature. So with the protected nature of the crisis, any crisis attention will be diverted either at the cost or at the backdrop of any other crisis or without. So this is number one, that it's 5 year. We have to think out of the box and how to make sure that the support is provided to them while they are waiting for their return to their homeland. And the second one, as you rightly mentioned, crisis happening in another part of the world. Yes, Ukraine conflict, the current situation of between Russia and Ukraine conflict, and the displacement of Ukrainians within their country as well as outside. According to UNHCR, around 6 million of Ukrainian citizens have left their countries to others, so they became a refugee in a refugee kind of status, or asylum seekers. And also we have before that we have this Afghanistan's situation where unfortunately the fall of the government has been there. Now we have the de facto government by Taliban that is currently not recognized by the world, and then there is a huge need of Afghanistan stuff. So, and then plus to that we have this Horn of Africa's drought and difficult. People are actually dying because of the hunger and drought. So the world is in a very difficult situations, and we do understand that donors are prioritizing the needs of that, which is impacting the Rohingya response here. However, what we are continuing telling to the donors, with the support of the government of Bangladesh, that the attention of the international community should not be deviated to other crises. They should not forget the need of 1 million of displaced Rohingya population here in Bangladesh, because the need actually not going down, the funding going down, but the need is going up because of the
So are you working on that
and on the price?
to draw the attentions of donors?
One of the things that we have been kind of working and supported the government of Bangladesh, and which was initiated by the government, was a sideline event in UNGA, in the General Assembly, which has been just a week ago, where Honorable Prime Minister of Bangladesh, together with co-hosted by a few other countries like Turkey and other Muslim countries, organized that event. And the attention, and where IOM and UNHCR, as two UN agencies working and leading this response here, have been part of that. Our Director General and UNHCR High Commissioner was also present there. This is specifically to bring back the attention of the world to this population. So we would be continuing.
So we have another question. That is, so you are doing something for the Rohingya and the local community, as we know. So what are your future plan for the both Rohingya and the host community?
Yeah, so the future plan, and as we talk today, is remains again pending the repatriation, providing the support they need. So you rightly mentioned that our, particularly IOM, more than other UN agencies, are also prioritizing the need of the host communities. As I already mentioned to you, that I remember the solidarity of the of the local population, and in order to pay back that solidarity, that support, we are focusing a lot on development part of the host communities. So few areas that we are doing it on livelihood. We are training people. We are making sure that that they could have better life, because having better life for the host communities is also in
Is
good
it
for the.
enough, do you think?
It is probably not enough, but it is enough for the need that is, if you don't address those needs, it become even worse. So this is what we are trying to minimize the impact as we move forward. For the Rohingyas themselves, we are talking with the government. We are really convincing them that there is a need for us to do something outside of the humanitarian need to reduce their aid dependency, because it is not cost effective. We cannot feed them or providing support just keeping them inside. So let us do something on the education, on skill development, bearing in mind that this education, this skill development, this livelihood support that we are giving will be useful for them to reintegrate when they go back. So now we started having these discussions. I think we need to make sure that host communities, the refugees themselves, should be giving a bit empowered to help themselves. It should not be depending on the support of the government, not neither fully on the international aid. So these are things that we are trying to balance as we move forward, so that we could support them with livelihood, with
So
doing something that we could.
as you said, if it stays prolonged, if the Rohingya stays prolonged, so what should be the way? What should be the plan for the host community? Because in a long term, so they will suffer enough. So the trees are cuttings, the hills are cuttings, and the huge, huge cost they have paid the local community. So if it stays prolonged, so what should be the way?
So talking
So
about the environment, you just mentioned about trees being cut, and I remember in 2017 when that happened, I was on the ground. I saw how the protected forest land has been destroyed, and because the government gave that land which was protected, the forest was really beautiful, unfortunately is gone. But what has happened, and that was what is part of the support we are doing. So we have looked at different lands, like giving that support to the host communities and the Rohingyas. Now if you compare 2017 and today's camp, it's more much become much more greener. So we are giving back to the environment, because we have to so the tree plantations and all those environment friendly interventions have been ongoing together with IOM, UNHCR, FAO, this and other agencies that is doing the Food Agriculture Organization of UN. So we are trying to build this back. But what is next? What we can do? The next is continuations of making sure the international community is putting more emphasis on the Myanmar side in order to start relocating them, repatriating them.
repatriate.
Sorry. So the repatriation, according to what I have heard now, is discussion is ongoing. So the pilot number, of very small number, supposed to be returned to Myanmar in few months. So we hope that this will continue. But meanwhile,
But if they repatriate to the Myanmar, how the local community will cover their laws and how world community will compensate the local community?
the international community has been quite generous for that. Look, I bring a few examples. Okay, so today I'm here, and tomorrow you may know that we are inaugurating 12 out of 100 community clinics within the host communities, not with the Rohingyas. It is host communities. So actually, to be frank, that is what the World Bank is funding it. IOM is constructing it, and the Honorable Health Minister will
Yes.
himself will be here to participate
So
in
how many
inauguration.
hospitals
So
are going to open?
12 out of 100. So there are 100 community clinics, not hospital, community clinics. There's a difference between hospital and community. Will
In
be
Tiknaf?
inaugurated across Teknaf and Okia as
And
well. So, but the 12th one will be in Teknaf. Therefore, the inauguration will be in Teknaf. So these are what will remain here, even Rohingyas will go back, right? And also we are working like cyclone shelters.
Yes, yes.
Out of 49 cyclone shelters have been rehabilitated by IOM. We are building another 16 one for host communities. So these are what we are investing for as a token of appreciation for the communities, for the host communities that be, even when the Rohingyas will go back. So this is happening. Just we more are talking about the need of Rohingyas, but also we do not forget that host communities, the Bangladeshis generously hosting them, also need their support, and we continue doing it. IOM as a migration agency actually concerned about across the board, like it is not just
So
refugees, but
just I would like to ask you the questions, and that is, what about the scenario of disparate journey? You know, we have heard many stories, the Rohingya and the local community. So they'll start at the disparate journey by sea.
yeah.
So is it, you know, the number is increase or decrease?
Yeah, the 2016 and the Andaman Sea crisis has happened, and IOM was there to support, and they've been this boat that has departed from Teknaf have been capsized, have been intercepted in the in the Indonesia on the way to Australia.
Indonesia, Thailand, or
Yeah, and then
something.
Australia. Usually
Then Australia.
the target is
Yes,
Australia.
yes.
So crisis has been addressed, and of course we know that there's a kind of concern that there might be more boats departing, but this has helped us to build capacity of the Coast Guard, of the law enforcement authorities here in Cox's Bazar, to make sure that they address and they alert us so that we can address it. Unfortunately, human smuggling and human trafficking, regardless of the fact it is Bangladeshi or Rohingyas, particularly in the crisis, becomes high. So when that in the beginning of the crisis, it was just like everybody was paying attention to the humanitarian need. The traffickers started doing their job and trying. The boats started departing. But as we talk now, and following that 2016 Andaman Sea crisis, there was not a huge kind of
No, the number is reduced.
Yes, it's reduced because we as a migration agency are paying attention to that and working with the law enforcement authority here in
Yes,
Cox's
yes.
Bazar
Our law
to make sure they
agencies are
they
working on
understand.
that, and apart from you, you know, active role, so it is reduced since some days. So, what is your if I ask you, so what should be your message for the world community, for the host community, and for the Rohingya community? Last of all,
Well, IOM calls on the international communities not to forget the need of this population, because although there are various different types of the crisis happening, but this crisis is unique. And as I told you, is it the largest refugee camp in the world? In the world, there is no such a big refugee camp that has close to 1 million just living in one place, right? So this is number one. Number two is that the international communities should continue they using ASEAN, using other different platform of the regional cooperation organizations to work with the authorities in Myanmar to make sure that this repatriation has to take place, because you and I know that these people, the only way they don't want to go to the third country, they don't want to be remaining here, they want to go back. So in order to support their aspiration going back, this is number two that we are calling on international community. Number three is that we should continue supporting the government of Bangladesh, because we should not also forget 2017's generous and actually a sign of humanity that they have, this country has given, with the Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister herself going down. I was there when she was down and meeting with this population, which was fresh. They've been crying how atrocity has been going. So that attention, or that attention and recognition should not be forgotten, and the government of Bangladesh needs to be supported, you know, in their efforts to make sure the need of this population is there. We as UN will be supporting them, but it is them who are leading the whole crisis here.
So thank you, the Ashraf. Audience shows the discussions that we have discussed with many issues. So thank you for being with us.